For this video, I'm doing the 6 divisions of light and shadow, and I've drawn a little diagram to help show and make it easier to understand when I'm drawing the real thing. I also have them labeled. So this is the highlight, then you have the light, the halftone, the shadow core, the reflected light, and the cast shadow. To make this video a little bit shorter, I've drawn out the shape and the spots already. But I would like to note that for the cast shadow, you are drawing an ellipse, so you still want to make sure that that is accurate, no footballing, everything is even. So to start off, I'll be doing the highlight and the light. The highlight is not going to have almost any color whatsoever, depending on your object, because it is the light source hitting directly onto the object. I'm going to be using a hatching technique for the mark making, and I'm going to arc it around the highlight to make my object look more round. And so to start, I'm doing a really light layer over the entire thing, and I'm going to add more to build up as I go, because I think that it just makes it the transitions a little bit more smooth. And then I'm going back in right there and erasing a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. And then I'm also going back in and erasing those lines so that they're not as apparent. Then I'm going to do the same thing I did for the light, where I'm going to take that shade that I'm doing and I'm going to pull it all the way across the shape to the darker parts, but obviously not going over the light part. I intentionally am not making it super dark because you can always go back and add more, and you can erase as well, but it's a little bit easier to keep adding on. Now I'm doing the shadow core, and I'm adding it in layers again just to make everything look really smooth and nice. And then for the reflected light, I went a little bit too far with my shading, so I'm just going to erase that little spot where I'm going to put that new color. Reflected light is the light source hitting whatever surface your object is on and reflecting back onto the object. So it's not going to be super dark or anything. I'm probably going to go in and I make it a little like the halftone shade, not too dark. Then lastly, you got the cast shadow. And the cast shadow is not going to be as dark as your shadow core. The shadow core is going to be the darkest part of your object. Another thing to note is that as the cast shadow moves away from the object, it's going to get fuzzier, not as sharp, and a little bit lighter. So right where the object is touching the cast shadow, I'm going to make the defining lines really sharp and crisp, but as I move out, I'm going to make it fuzzier and just a little bit lighter. A nice gradation. Alright, now that I have the base layer down, I'm going to continue to add and fix whatever I see fit. My shadow core was not nearly as dark as my cast shadow, so it needs to be darker, so I fixed that. Just going in and fixing things. I'm also erasing the line on the lighter parts of my object because I want my shading to really define the edge of my object rather than the circle that I drew originally. The rest of this video is me continuing to fix whatever I didn't like about my object, but I hope that this helps you with your 6 divisions of light and shadow.